Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Another fun-filled day. Uh, Everything seems to be in a crazy tizzy around here when it comes to the politics. But the markets, the Federal Reserve has a fine handle on pretty much everything. So it's not bad. It's I think we have two of the three indexes possibly plus at the moment, which is not bad. You can take a quick look at that, but let's just go over to J4X, take a look at, that's one of the indexes that's up. Let's take a look at the way the dollar is moving this morning. And we'll go over to the Swiss dollar pairs trade. That's very insightful, or definitely descriptive of what's going on with the dollar always. And then let's go over to here. Let's see, which one do we need to close out of that? Maybe close that one. There's the stock indices. You can see the NASDAQ is down again now. Dow's down 75, and the S&P is down 5 points. So it's kind of quiet now. They sold them down, and then, they found a way to turn them back up, which was fine. Fine, and fine. So now let's take a look at the Swiss, right there. And you can see it was lifting up strong this morning. It seems to have backed off a little bit. We're trying to get into, let's make it so you can see this. As you see here, where the Swiss on the J4X is trying to turn up, we're doing the same exact thing here on Chicago Quant. The only thing is that the weekly signal we have here is telling us that there's pressure still. So that's positive for the Swiss, obviously, and negative for the dollar. And as I say that, let's tune into the chat line and see if anybody is here today on Happy to Hump Day. I don't think so, so it doesn't matter. Nope, looks kind of quiet. And so there you can see all the things that are going on. I don't really see the dollar going up or down much. I don't see any of the currencies really going up or down much. They're held in a range. It's not like we're going to see something from 1989 or 1995, where you have, or 96, where you have the, long-term capital management and currencies go flying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pips. We're not really seeing any of that action. It's kind of quiet, and it's been that way for a while now. We haven't seen any major drastic moves in a currency pair overnight, minus the Turkish Lira and the Swiss franc. Remember when the Swiss franc let go of the euro back in, I guess, 05, 04, something like that. Not 04, I'm sorry, 15, back in 2015 or so, where, it went flying down 800 or 900 pips. It is kind of quiet at this point. The currencies, they trade very well. They stay inside their channels. They hit the tops of them. They maybe drift a little bit through them, and they drip back down again. And they're just fine. The currency market is a very good, clean market compared to many of the other markets we have to deal with every day. All right, now let's take a look at the euro right there. You see euro is trying to perk up a little bit. It's 1 day in a daily sell. Let's put that line in there. And it's also put in that daily buy when it went into the buy right there. So, but it's still in that weekly sell. So there's that pressure, the long-term money, the ones that hold the product longest, the weekly trends, the monthly trends are all telling us that the product has pressure from this 2200 area, which was the top end of that range. That's why those little red dots are there. You can see them right there. And, it played down, and maybe it'll play down to the bottom end of that range. Let's see if we can find it. There it is right there. And that bottom end of the range is the 116. So we'll see if they find a way to march down to that, or they're just going to get stalled out just the same way as, let me show you again. The Swiss kind of trapped inside its range. It's finding a new little range inside because it's so quiet. All right. Then what we do is we march our way over to, we didn't take a look at it on the J4X. Let's take a look at the euro on the J4X just to reconfirm and make traders who have the opportunity to tune into J4X to be able to look at the math the same way I do. Right there, you see the little rollover going on. You see right there, it's battling a little bit at the moment, nothing major. It's trying to lift up now, and this will be a little bit behind, and don't be surprised in a few hours it starts to make its turn, you know. You see our little volatility green dot there. So, all right, now let's jump over to, oh no, that's the Swiss. Let's go back to the euro on my work so you can compare the two. There it is. And see, same thing. Line is moving down just like the white line is moving down here. There you go. I knew something was a little skewed to that. And so it's, you know, trying to put the pressure on. It's doing the same thing right here. Red hinkies, same thing there. We got red dots. All right. Now we will zip the DocDow over to the British pound, the great GBP. And you can see it there on the Chicago Quant. It's in a second full day, going on a third now day of sell. And the weekly is flirting again. Once it was, this morning at one point it was not. It dropped underneath. Now it's back up again. You know, it keeps on moving, you know, sideways, choppily. We'll see by the end of the day where it stands. But right now it looks like it's right on the edge. What do we have there? 0. Now that's a minus, so it's minus again, so we can remove that. Remove. And so now you can see it there. It is minus 0.00015. So it's just hanging in there on the minus side on the weekly too. Trying to lift, but having its issues. And over on J4X, let's see, right there. There. JJ4X. Yep, and you see there, it's pressing down also. Same exact way, lots of red hinky ashies. Just like we have lots of red dots, as you see right here, moving down. Good tool here, the JX. You know, you tune in the Dukascopy, you got that chart system and use our math combination, and you got these two things look really good to give you a general idea. And then we use our math to show you how more accurate this work is. That's the thing. As you can see, we are very accurate here, 8.5 out of 10, so this helps out. It's just a little laggard when it comes to the hinky ashies. But this here is a very good indicator that there's two stochastics fighting with each other. It always reminds me of how I started off with Dukascopy, you know, calling it two algorithms, you know, battling with each other. I remember, was it Greta? Does it have to be battle? Does it have to fight? It's like, that's what they do. They challenge each other. You know, for good or bad, it's being challenged. Indeed, indeed. Okay. Now, we zip over to that one we just mentioned, and that is the Turkish Lira. Take a look and see what she is doing today. Now, we've been in a daily sell on that for, what is that? That's line 17? Yeah. 4 days. We've been in a weekly sell for 5 weeks. Over on the euro, it's 7 weeks we're in a sell on that. That's pretty cool. And, you know, the euro seems to tell us the story even better than the dollar. Here it comes. And let's get it up on the Chicago Quant to prove the point, how good the J4X is working. You can see here it is trying to turn up a little bit more today compared to yesterday. And you can see the 2, 4, 5 full weeks in a sell going on a 6th. You see the J4X stochastic combination fighting to turn back up again. Same situation right here, right there. Now let's dance our way over to the Turkish Lira, Euro Turkish Lira. Right there. Oh no, I need to hit activate, that's what it was. Activate. And there it is. You're not seeing a lot of euro trying to turn up. I mean, you can see the high, it's higher from yesterday, no doubt about it. And you can see here the white line, if we shrink that down, how I know is because look at the histogram, it's trying to move up. So we shrink that down and you'll see the white line trying to lift. See? Like so. So it's trying to lift up, and then you got your 2, 4, 6, 7 full weeks in the sell going on an eighth. Doesn't really look like this thing is trying to climb up anywhere. All right, and so that is the view we take from the euro against the Turkish Lira on Chicago Quant. Now let's take a look at it through the J4X just to finish this off. Here it comes. You can see it's trying to do its little bottoming thing here. It did it right there, and you can see it took a couple days for it to slow down. Some heavy inertia. And you can see, bounced up here and then started to roll over again, or you can see this one here. This one almost was instantly. That was pretty cool. This one here kind of turned up also instantly. All right, now we slide over we go to the Canadian from here. Canadian is interesting in the fact that, we say this every day, and that is that the two of them, the Turkish Lira and the Canadian, sometimes really follow each other, which is unique in its own right. I guess it's like one of the more healthier countries economically versus one that's in dire straits almost all the time, constantly both. Yeah. That's something. Let's see what we can do here. There we are. All right. Where do we go from here? Now we slide over to the energy. Oh, the Canadian. We didn't even do the Canadian. We just rambled about the Canadian. Let's go over to that. And right there is the Canadian, and you can see it's moving up against the dollar. Or no, I guess actually it's flat to down against the dollar today. But we've been in daily buy for a few days here. Let's widen that out. So there's Canadian is just basically over the last, say, couple of weeks, it's definitely losing value against the dollar. We're very close on the weekly. You can see that right there. We are at 0.4 zeros, or is that 5? 4 zeros and a 6. So 4 zeros, then a 6. So it's just plus by the hair of its chinny chin chin. And let's see it here. La, la, la. Let's see what else we got here. There it is. And the Canadian, you see it right there on J4X moving up against the dollar, against the dollar, which means it's losing value. So when it goes down, it's making against the dollar. So it's got that upwardly slope going on, hence the reason why we are in a weekly buy from here. It just refuses to give up. We've seen some interesting things like the ABC here. This is the B we've been figuring all along, and then it'll probably give us a C. The dollar will weaken, and it'll find a way to maybe challenge these lows or this low or something like that. That's classic summer trading, I think. All right. Now, from there, what we do is we take from Canadian, since Canada has a lot of gold and silver and has a lot of oil, relative to the amount of people in the country. So that's why I say it's one of the more healthier world economy countries, not counting the fact it's our neighbor in the north. So again, they don't have to worry about like the United States firing rockets at them like the Hamas and and so forth do against Israel every day. I mean, no one's really firing rockets or firebombing forests or all these other crazy things some of these neighbors do around the world. But here in the States, Canada doesn't have to worry about that. Now let's take a look at the energy sector. We'll go to crude first, and then we'll drift back to the currencies. Right there, light sweet crude. just hanging around. And we keep on getting, let's see what this, I can't wait to see what the signal looks like now. I mean, we get some of the weirdest signals the last couple days out of crude oil. Right? Crude oil keeps on trying to go into a sell. Then they go and change the data at night, things like that on me. And, I have no control over it. This is the clearinghouses and the brokerage houses and the exchanges doing this stuff. And so that's what it is. I need that randomness. I can't, there's no way in the world I should have that power to change the price solely because then it would be disingenuous of the math. We would be changing the numbers to adjust to the math. That's insane. We're looking for accuracy, not deception. All right, so you can see here it's trying to lift up again today. It is in a buy since here, which is really insane. And we're in a weekly buy since here. So this is what you call a loser. And here we got into a sell. And then this turned into a buy. They took data out. Then this went into a sell. And now this is just, a volatility signal. And so the math is all long for this whole move here from the fall of the 69-ish, the high 68s area. Well, not the highs. I guess you can see the close is 68.90 there, and 68.21, and then 67.05, then 66.34. So it's a couple bucks in the wrong direction, and then there's 66.87, and we're in a weekly buy at the same time. So, I just keep. We've seen this happen before. You got to figure it's going to run right back up to this area here. It'll run right back up where it lost money, and then it'll find a way to go higher, and it'll be in this buy, and everybody will be like scratching their heads like, Doc, how did the math know not to go into a sell down there? It's like it did. It went into a sell. Went into a sell here, but the problem is that they took the numbers out overnight, and it pushed it back, our math back into a buy. So I don't know. They're trying to. I don't know what they're trying to do. No idea. It's this Blackpool stuff that they do, and the trades that are not reported stuff, and then they try to pile them in out of sequence. 5 and 6 and 2 days later, hours later, or 8 hours later, or 1 or 2 days later. They do it. It's just crazy. But the math picks it up on both sides of it. If you're watching it, it's like, wow, Doc's telling us to be. There's pressure. It's a weekly buy and a daily sell, so don't be long here. That's how we send it out to the clients. Don't be long here. Next thing you know, you wake up, it's still telling us to be long. It's like, what? What's up with that? Alrighty, that's the way it rolls. Okay, I'm a big boy. I can take it. I can take the hits. I don't care. There's no problem there. Our math will always bring you back to profit. That's what it always does. I've rarely ever seen it not. The Turkish Lira has made it hard at times, but it still brings you back to profit. After that, I can't tell you when the last time I didn't see something come back to profit. Turkish Lira is about as close as I've ever seen it not bring something back to profit. And there you can see gold. Gold's trying to lift. Let's give it a refresh. I think it'll refresh. Let's try it that way then. There we go. You can see here it's just trapped the last couple of days. The world is going to hell in a handbasket, and gold is just sitting around doing nothing. Someone sent me some stuff today about Bretton Woods and the dollar, and it was like, yeah. It's like quantitative easing takes the dollar and turns all the currency pairs, the slow ones, the minor ones, the major ones, turns them all into a very docile creatures. Really good trading ranges, that type of thing. But the world is now happy to see all the currencies equally in value. And then let's take a look at silver. You know what? We're going to skip. There's the silver. Just a quick look for you. We're just about flirting with the sell there. See that there? It's, what is that? 0.01. So it's still in the buy. It's got a red dot. Let's give it a control R, and then I'm going to leave that there on the commodity side. See, now it's gone. The red dot has even disappeared. And let's jump now over to the other currencies. So we look at the South African Rand, which we're assuming, since the metals is sideways, the rand should be sideways too. You know, I mean, maybe up a little bit, maybe down a little bit. You know, I mean, no real major move in it. Let's look and see. ZAR, where are you, ZAR? Oh, you're going to jump out. There it is. Yeah, just sideways down a little bit. You know, in a daily buy for a few days. You know, just kind of hanging out in there. Then, what do we do from here? From there, we jump over to ruble. Ruble, yeah, today is finally doing it. It's going after that upside now. And the weekly is trying to turn up a little bit in here. You can see that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if the ruble really has a direction. It's like everything else in the summer, you know, going nowhere slowly. But right now, you know, it wasn't a sell from here. I would say, you know, just looking at this weekly sell, daily sell, you know, it's trying to climb into a buy. It just says basically don't be short at the moment, just be neutral. And then we go over to the yen. The yen flirted yesterday like that. Today, look at it, climbing into the buy, and the weekly is trying to lift up at the same time. Let's take a look at the yen. Right there. You see, we'll see how J4X is treating that. You see that there? It's trying to lift up. You see the white line has turned just like our white line has right there. And we'll see if it pierces it by the end of the day here, like our white line has pierced it here. And that will be the action we follow. So maybe usually when that's turning, that's usually a sign the dollar is turning up. So maybe the dollar is going to bottom out. I forget. Let's see. Let's look where UUP closed. Yeah, it closed in the daily buy last night. So the ETF, let's go over to that. The ETF closed in a daily buy last night. Yeah, there it is. And today it's down from yesterday, but still firm. And you can see the weekly. Where are we in the weekly in that thing? So are we in a weekly buy or sell? We are in a weekly sell, and now it's just trying to lift into the weekly buy. You know, this is, you can see it here, this sideways action. This one's sideways up. You know, you can see that these pairs trades in general are going nowhere. They're just trading in ranges. If nothing else, yesterday, let me finish this last currency side of this. We'll look at the Mexican peso. And then I'm going to go right back into that conversation we had yesterday, where someone was middle age was talking about the idea that gold and the dollar were moving together. They really weren't, but they were in general moving together in the same day. At one point, they both were up, I guess you could say. I'm not sure. They both were firm. Let's put it that way. But we showed that they had topped out when he said that the dollar was running up and gold was running up. Basically, it wasn't happening that way anymore. It was well off its highs, gold. In this case here, you can see the Mexican peso is just hanging out there. You know, just hanging there. You can see it, and you know it's holding up. You know, we kind of think because of the way the weekly is acting here, that we're going to get some strength out of it there. Let's see what it looks like over at J4X. There it is. So I'd imagine we're seeing the white line moving off the lows of the last couple days. Now, how do they do that? Why don't I see? There it is. There it is. Okay, there it is. You see, it's trying to move off of it now, and the hinky ashies are trying to turn. We got one green right there. I think is it 2 or 1? 2. See that? It's trying to turn up. So, looking at that, you know, we were talking about that dollar gold experience, and I thought, oh my God, that kind of sounds like a bear trap. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the metals to go up to get buyers in so they can sell more of it. That's what it looks like to me. That is, seems to be the nature of it all, really. It does seem like a bear trap, and it's very concerning, because I'm a bull on gold all the time. I like gold. I think it's a good thing. But, cryptos have taken that position now, so I'm a bull on cryptos all the time. But it really is disappointing. It does look like something is brewing when it comes to the bear trap type of thing. And it does. It has that look to it. And then when you go back, let's take a look at the metals again. So then, you see silver here. It can't get into a weekly buy. It just can't even get there. And the same thing is true with platinum. I mean, if the metals market is really picking up value, why are these things minus? Now there's a daily buy there. That's pretty cool. But why can't we get a weekly to go? And we're getting look at it there. We're getting a volatility signal. Like, be careful, something's happening. Oh, look at that. Now I refreshed it, and it's broken all the way back down again. And it's cleaned up. I hadn't hit the refresh probably in like 7 hours on that product. Got to hit the refresh on these products just to clean them up, because sometimes they don't update by themselves until you wick them up, and then they start updating again. Because I'm not looking at them. You can see here the weekly 15 weeks in a sell. All the way up in the 1200 area. So that to me, combining with watching the currencies and the gold marching in the same direction, the dollar in particular, says to me maybe they're trying to set up a bear trap for gold traders. Maybe they're tired of looking at gold at 1700 or 1800. Maybe they want to see it down at 1400 or 1300 to prove even more. Don't worry, man. No inflation, right? And that the ganja guy, Powell, who basically, the head of the Federal Reserve, keeps on saying transitory. It's transitory. It was transitory in June, and transitory in July, and transitory in August. And I said back then, I said, if this thing doesn't start to back off, the markets will feel it. Not the stock markets, because in the beginning of inflation, people buy stocks because they feel that the dividends will stay in line with the inflation, because companies can raise prices. So, Powell is like pushing the idea that, don't worry, you're not seeing anything here. This is not real. Don't worry about it. And he's trying to get his job. Remember, he's expires this year. So, it's a toughie. You know what I mean? It's a real toughie, because people think they go out and they put fuel in their machines, the automobiles, and it's twice the cost. And you look at natural gas, try to buy natural gas, it's twice the cost of what it was 12 months ago. And you go and try to buy food, and it's like 25-30% more than it was then. So it really makes it tough. I mean, really tough, because everybody's paying it, and then you got the President of the United States, and you've got the head of the Federal Reserve saying, don't worry, it's not really happening. You're just confused. It's transitory. It's gonna go back down. Don't worry. We'll see. When it goes back down, I guess when Trump is president again, it'll go back down. So that is the tough part, is that they keep on saying odd, crazy things. Odd and crazy. That's the way the government works, not counting looking at Afghanistan. Jeez. So, there we are on the metals complex. And then we slide over to, where do we go from there? Then we go over and we take a look at the, let me just show you the energy real quick too. There's natural gas, the one that's basically doubled over the last, is it doubled? No, it's gone up 50%. That's what it's gone up 50% over the last year. So it's gone from the 280 area to the 420 area. You can see we've been in this cell since here, and we're actually flirting with a weekly cell, which is kind of curious. So we'll see how they treat the natural gas situation. All right, from there we go over and take a look at the stock indices. So let's do that. Let's see what the stock indices say. I just want to put it up on a different screen for a moment. Just in case somebody asks they want to look at something, I don't want to have to reload it, you know. There we go. And we're going to put this on right there. And let's put the stock indices up there real quick, right there. And as you can see here now, when we started the webinar, it was down 7, was it? I think it was. And S&Ps were down 5, and now it's down 8. And we're down 21 in the NASDAQ, and the Dow is down 73, now it's down 90, so a little pressure again. They just push it back and forth. You know, it's nothing major. It's not even 1%, you know. It's amazing how excited these newscasters get. Oh my God, the market rolled over today. It was down 400 points. It's like, okay. And how much is that percentage-wise? It's like 0.85%. It's like not even 1%, and you're excited. Funny. All right, so we see how they are on the short term in our Teslas, as I like to call it nowadays. So the Tesla here are 639 on the S&P 500, and then the Tesla here of the 369. I was using 939, doubling it. It's the Tesla, and then there it is, 369 again, over on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You see how the manifold's tightening up, right there, on the S&P 500, and the same thing is also true about the way the Dow Jones Industrial Average is acting. Now, let's go out and check the dailies themselves and see what kind of action we are really seeing here. See, is that it right there? There it is. Alright, so on the S&P 500 there, you can see we couldn't get into a sell yesterday with all that noise. The weekly is very firm. No worries, man. Be happy. And then we go over to the NASDAQ 100, and again we couldn't get into the daily sell right there, and the weekly is also saying no worries, man, be happy, light the ganja up. And then you go over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's give that a refresh. There we are. And that's doing the same story. It's in daily buys from back here. That's at 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 full days going on a 10th day in a buy. And it's what, 2, 3, 4, 5 going on a 6th week from the 34,000 area, and now we're trading at 35,170. So the thing has gone up basically 1,200 points since it went into a weekly buy. See? No worries. Inflation. No worries, man. Be happy. And that's how the stock indices look. Now let's go over to the most speculative of our 4 stock indices here in the States. We're going to take a look at the Russell 2000. Sounds like some type of game or something like that, or a rocket. The Russell 2000. And there you are there. You see it yesterday. They drove that puppy down hard. Starting to go after this low here and went through these lows here. Today you can see it's trying to perk its little head up. We're in a weekly sell now for 1 full week, going on 2. Let me just put that in there. No worries, man. Be happy. Not that. There it is. And you can see it's trying to do a little bottoming thing right there. A lot of red dots, a lot of pressure. We'll see. I think it's going to lead us. Hey, Douglas, how you doing? Had a cousin named Douglas. Still do, I believe. Morning to you, too. Would you like to see anything in particular? We can tune into it if you would like. It would be a lot of fun, as far as I'm concerned, if you would throw out a couple products you want to take a look at. That would be just scrumptious, as far as I'm concerned. I'd be very happy. because I like when people come up with ideas to look at something, because you never know what we're going to rediscover. Doesn't matter if we looked at it this morning, we can go look at it again. There's always insight to looking at a chart and its price, the price action. And boy, I'll tell you, I've been dying to get the Brazil thing up. I think we can only get the ETF. So let me see if I can bring the Brazil ETF up. There is like, I have a hard time getting the Brazilian real. I cannot get that up. The brokerage house, the clearinghouse, they don't seem to want to cover the thing. I have a hard time understanding that. That doesn't make any sense to me. But when I try to Google this stuff, it always wants to give me the Brazilian ETF. So let's do that. Let's run over there and take a look at the Brazilian ETF. Let's see, where is it at? So let's go here. File, open, stock indices. And let's take a look at the Brazilian ETF, because things are really having some problems down there. We just added this today, the DBA, I'm sorry, DBA. And let's do this. Let's copy that. Copy. And then paste. And let's put that in. Let's see, Brazilian ETF. Let me hunt down the Brazilian ETF, see what the symbol is. USDBRL. Let's try that. All right. Cool. Let's do that. Let's close this for the moment. Or not close it. Let's just go over to the currency. USDBRL. Let's see if we can find that. We'll find one of them that we're not using anymore. How about that one? Let's try that. Format. BRL. See, we don't get that. That's the problem. Add. Let's try that. Cash. USD. See, it doesn't have it there. That's the problem. I would love to see Brazil's currency through my math. And all they give us is they have everybody there but the Brazil. I don't know why. They must have some really strange delivery situation. Let's see what this is on J4X. See if they do the same thing on J4X. I know we've searched on J4X too. So let's try that. USD. BRL. Enter, right? See, I do that, they just drive me right to the euro. I don't get it. I don't understand the problem there. It just doesn't make any sense to me, you know? It really doesn't. And yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They won't let me add it. They won't let me, you know, nothing. It won't be. It's not in their list. You see there's the list. And they just won't. They just don't. You know, it's just not there. It's really weird, I think. Hey, middle age. Christmas beans. Let's see what Christmas beans look like. Bean meal. Okay, that's better. Yeah, because November beans is really the hot ticket. The hot ticket. There is, matter of fact, that's funny. I sent that over to somebody this morning too. I mean, they don't normally get it. I just saw it and I thought, let's send it to them. What the hell? There it is, right there. It's you can see it was trying to get towards a buy. I think the bean oil was trying to climb into a buy. Let's see what bean oil is. Now that's in a sell also. And then the beans themselves are in a sell. All three of them are in a sell. That's really a little bit unique in its way, because bean meal soy meal has been going down when all the others were looking firm. Yeah, Douglas, I don't understand that. It really confuses me. It's a large country in a continent. What is it, the second largest or largest? It's the more industrialized nation. How does not their currency trade like everything else? What's up with that? I don't understand that. It's so weird. And none of the trading houses want to carry it. They must have a strange delivery system that makes the brokerage houses not want to even deal with it. All right. I remember one time we got markets in it maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago. It was so wide. It was such a wide market in it. So yeah, there's the beans. You can see the pressure on beans middle age. You can see pressure on the oil. And that's updating right now. Yeah, it's the 18th. And then you can see the meal. Same situation. It tried to lift there yesterday and tried to get into the buy, and now look at it, it's rolling over again. And they got to feed those cows. And I'll tell you, around here we're in cattle country, in southern New Jersey. And all I see is bigger and bigger herds. I mean, when you're looking at, was it April cattle's in the 140 maybe? Let's see where April cattle is. Right there. There it is. April cattle. Yeah, it's been above $140 now for almost a week. And it's, they want hamburger. You got to pay for it. That's right. Indeed, indeed. But what else can I say about that? Let's see how the JO is doing. I was really surprised to see the coffee back off a little bit yesterday. Did the futures contract back off also? Where's the JO? Right there. Yeah, and it's doing it again today? No, hasn't updated yet. Let's give it a control R. Because it's trading live now. Let me see if I can find out where the quote is on that. Let's see what the coffee quote looks like. And the answer to that is it's 50.22 bid for, 50.46 offered. So, and it settled, let's minimize that. And then it settled at 43 yesterday. So the market is kind of mixed there, And like I said, I was really surprised when they started putting some daily pressure on that. The weekly's not rolling over, but the daily was. So I guess they want to take some profits. That's the answer. I always say that to traders. If you have if you made money in a position, and it's in there, you gotta know one thing, and that is specifically, if you don't take a profit when you're making, if you don't sell when you're making money, the next time you're selling is when you're losing money. That's what I try to remind people to realize all the time. Yeah, down yesterday, but up today in KC futures. Yeah, it looks like they're quoting it mixed market. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe flat. Let's see. Douglas says, especially the banks in Brazil. What is it? They have just a really strange delivery system? Is that what it is? Normally, how delivery works is, 2 days. And some of the Asian markets, it was 3 day. But what's up with the Brazil? Was it 1 week? Something like that. I remember in Chicago, when I traded in Chicago, there was you had to, there was like, you ring a bell in this particular area over in the currency area, and you could, try to get a quote on something, And, we would hear the bell ring, we'd walk over and see if we could make a market in whatever it was. But I remember the Brazil one time, someone tried to do that, and it was like, whoa, it was like 7 handles wide. It's like, what are they doing? What is that? And then I guess you could look at it the same way in like the Turkish Lira. It's really wild like that. At least they can put a Turkish Lira up as a currency. Why can't they put up a Brazil? And it's the real, right? The Brazilian real. So why can't they put the Brazilian real up? I don't understand that. It must be so wild. Me so confused. All right. From here, where do we go from here? We just got done taking a look at a lot of the. Should I go hunt down that? It's really funny when I go Brazilian currency. They recommend the ETF. It's a stock ETF of Brazilian companies. They recommend if you want to be long, buy the ETF. It's like, wait a minute, no, I want to be long the currency, not the companies. And that's what they do. You Google it and so forth, and it tells you, the ETF. That's so weird, the stock index. All right, what else we got today, traders? It is a lazy summer day. What were we, you know what? And I got to figure out a title for this too. What have we been talking about? I mean, obviously we've been talking about the real, but there's nothing to be said about it more than what we've already said. Let's see, what else did we look at? We looked at oil and gold. They seem to be almost comatose. They're dead. What else did we talk about here today that could be worth using as a title? We looked at the majors as always. We looked at the South African Rand. It's not that very exciting today, so it's not exactly like we need to try to advertise that. Then I'm trying to think what else we're missing here. What else can we do? There must be something we can go after. I think. What else? Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what is a good title to something. And we didn't really focus in on anything particular today, did we? I mean, yesterday was very deep on the metals market versus the currencies. How it looked like a bull trap. Or a bear trap, bear trap. But today I don't really have anything we've really emphasized. Let me just look through the neighborhood again. No, I don't really see anything. If anybody else has an idea out there what we should call today's webinar, let me know. Let's look at the interest rate market. You can see right here it's moving down a little bit today. There's the 30-year. But that's not exactly exciting anybody. Let's give it a refresh too. Yeah, it's still moving down a little bit. Nothing major. Interest rates are rising a little bit. That's a Federal Reserve thing. They have all the power in the world to do whatever they want to do. So, I mean, they're buying $120 new billion worth of bonds every month, not counting what they roll over. So, in other words, if they're rolling over another 100 billion every month, then they're buying 220 billion basically. So, that's why I say that it's not that much of a challenge for them. They just buy the bond vigilantes can get excited and they'll just go out and buy whatever the bond vigilantes want because they'll just print money and buy it. That's it. Boom, done. And then people want to know why inflation is happening in their face, but at the same time the Federal Reserve says it's transitory. Let's see, what else can we look at? I can see the stock indices are falling down a little bit more. The S&P had fallen down to 11. The Tech 100 that we talk about that Dukascopy has on there and Europe does, that's down 20. It's not exactly moving anywhere. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 108 right now. So a little pressure on the stocks, but that doesn't mean anything, because it doesn't take much to move the stock market. Federal Reserve just opens up the spigot a little bit, like $1 billion, $1.5 billion, $2 billion, and boom, market's up. That's it. Doesn't take it's not like 120 billion or 220 billion. They just throw in 3 or 4 billion here, 2 or 3 billion there, 100 billion, $8 billion here. Next thing you know, stock market up. Let's see. Oh, someone's having it. Oh, from Brazil too, having a problem with the OBS. Interesting. Maybe it was because we talked about the rail too much. Worked over his. Oh, here we go. Middle Age says, "What you think about crude oil, Doc?" Let's take a look and see. Crude is, they've been playing with that the last couple of days. It's very strange. We're still in a buy. We talked about that earlier, and how much the math is in the wrong direction, which is really surprising. They've been changing some of the data at night, which is odd, which is not super odd, but just odd. To me, I think it's going to go higher because the math is trying to tell us that it wants to go higher. I don't like to fight the math. The math that usually wins in the end, and I hate that. So you can't fight it. But you can see right here, and I'm sucking on a piece of licorice too. My throat feels a little sore. No COVID, no COVID. But you can see here, we went into the buy here, and then we went into the sell here, and the next day they took our sell away. In other words, they just changed the math. And then it was underneath here too, a sell, and they changed the math overnight. So this thing is telling us that they want to take it up. And you can see the weekly's in the buy. The daily's in the buy from here, which is underwater by $2. And don't fight it. I mean, if you're long it, try to sell calls against it or something. Up in the 70s. And, hedge a little of it. Do something like that. Or buy put spreads or something like that. But I kind of think it's going to find a way to go up, really. I find it odd, though, the way it did that. I mean, look where it went into the weekly sell. Literally almost at the bottom, which is really odd. And I mean, we went into, see, that's it, that needs to be moved over. So we went into the daily sell here, which is okay. And then it did this goofy little bounce and then went back into a sell right there. And so it caught this and this, but again, this is the only real one. This was a really good win, and this was sloppy at best. You might have caught some of this. And that's a maybe, unless it depends on how you trade it. If you use binaries or options, or that would have opened the doorway for you to make more money. And then you can see here it's trying to go into a buy, and we're in a weekly buy. The thing just refuses to go into a sell. So it tells me that they're probably going to find a way to climb back up into here, up into the 70s. And the middle age says, I'm thinking about buying deck calls for short-term trade. It's not in a sell. So I mean, it's that's a like I said, do bull spreads or something. Exactly, do something. It may take off. I don't see anything telling us that it can't. That's the thing. It really looks like it wants to. And like I said, you don't fight the math. If the math keeps on trying to remind us to be long, more than likely they're going to find a way. You're going to walk in one morning, the bloody thing's going to be up like $2 or something like that out of nowhere. The math usually is right. I mean, it's right 8 to 9 times out of 10, and that's why when you use options or binaries, it's such a safe trade. I'm thinking about, let's see, what's that? Douglas is saying day. I don't think he's thinking intraday. I think he's thinking like, short-term trade to middle age could be like a month, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. A short-term trade could be, 1 week, right? Middle age, that's what you usually are. A normal trade for middle age could be a 3-month option, 3 or 4 month option. But for a short-term one, I would think that middle age, a week or a month, yeah. That's the way he trades options. Or she trades options. Middle age does it that way. Which makes sense. The math is screaming at us right now that it wants to go back up to the highs of just the last 5 days. Let's take a look at it through J4X too. I bet it's turning the same way there. Right there. Let's see. Yeah, it hasn't turned yet. It hasn't turned yet there, but for us, we're in a buy. And this has been, look at this, J4X has been way more accurate. Let's see what the Brent looks like. And here it goes. It's loading up. And Brent's the same way. It's got that pressure. You know, if they would, if it would turn down, I think it would be much more interesting to see. But math is telling us it doesn't want to do that. The price has, it's, like I said, it's lost like about $2 overall from the buy. I mean, the buy in the end result is in the 69 area, and you can see right now we're trading at 66.72. So we're talking about $2.50, $2.20, something like that, 30 cents. It's been ugly. It gets up, up to 67.25. This one was up to 67.5. This one here was 67.5. So I mean, interesting action for the product, but that's what it seems like it's trying to tell us. Is that, and you know what? We should label this oil, the webinar oil, just because of how the math is going wrong on it. Just for the idea that how many tacticians will do that? So just because the math is going so awry on it, it's well worth for oil. Oil will be the title today. That's what's going to be the title, oil. See that, middle age? You woke me up to something again. And that's the whole idea. I mean, really, that's the whole idea about people asking questions. You never know what we'll learn from the question. In this case here, we go back to oil again. And, I wasn't rambling about, I did ramble about it could go up again because the math keeps on screaming about it. But there's no doubt about it. You've definitely pushed us in the right direction. Again. Robin calls it the middle-aged muscle and doc show. He says that, they'll call me afterwards and go, so it was another middle-aged and doc show. Yeah. All right, I guess we're going to jump out of here unless anybody wants to see something. We'd be gone then. All right, everybody, this is Happy to Hump Day, and we will catch you all on the flip side. Tomorrow is Thursday, the day before Friday. All right, Doc from North America saying, Arrivederci. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our Dukascopy trading friends. Ta-ta for now, traders.